for Schindler. Has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello listener, hope you've had a happy new year. A good start to 2022 so far. So this is the last of our fan chats that we've been doing over the festive period. This one is with Ryan Hildred from the Blackburn Rovers podcast, Rovers Chat. Because obviously we're playing the game today, Huddersfield v Blackburn. So Blackburn are actually third in the table with 45 points, level with Fulham, which is a bit of a surprise. So we chat to Ryan about that, and he gives us how he thinks the game's going to go. Sounds like he thinks it's going to be a good one, so we will see. But yeah, thanks to everyone who's kind of listened to these over the new year. Northern service for the warm-up will resume shortly, when my voice doesn't sound as croaky. But yeah, thanks to everyone for listening to these, and fingers crossed for another win, and up the town. Hi Ryan, thanks for joining me. So Blackburn are flying high at the moment. Is this how you expected the season to pan out?
I don't think anyone expected us to have a season like this. We lost Adam Armstrong to Southampton before the season started. Harvey Elliott went back to Liverpool after his loan, and those two were a real source of goals and creativity for Rovers last season. So I think most fans were accepting of a season of transition. I personally had us down in 18th, but do you know what? The secret to the success has just been that loads of players in our squad this season are playing much better. John Buckley has really emerged. Darragh Lenihan is an absolute colossus at the back. Joe Rothwell's affecting games really well. Brereton Diaz, of course, is grabbing all the headlines with 20 goals. So we've just got players who are performing better and a real squad effort. So it's just been a delight to watch, and they're such an easy team to support this.
Losing Adam Armstrong and Harvey Elliott for the season would probably affect most sides, but Rovers have seemed to have adapted well. How have they managed it?
The main adaptation that we've done is last season we were a side that very much wanted possession of the football. I think we were one of the highest in the division for percentage possession. This season it's completely flipped on its head, and I think we're lowest in terms of percentage possession. So we're very much playing the game of football now on the kind of overturn of possession, on the counter attack, trying to nick it back and press high. That's been the main adjustment. Again, people like John Buckley are pressing number 10s in other people's teams, and then we've got the wide strikers in Sam Gallagher, Reda Kadra, Brereton Diaz, Tyrese Dolan, from those wider positions. So it's proven a really effective attacking unit, and then that is ably supported by Joe Rothwell in midfield. So yeah, the main way that we've managed to do it is through that lower possession-based football game. In recent weeks, we've really been able to solidify at the back. So we've been able to pick a really settled back five. We do play wing backs, but first and foremost, it's quite a defensive wing back formation. Pickering and Nyambi are really solid wing backs in those positions, and they do get forward, but we've got a really solid back five, which is picking itself at the moment, again led by Darragh Lenihan, who's just taken his game to another level this season.
Last time we played each other, it was a 5-goal thriller with Huddersfield winning. What did you make of that game and Huddersfield in that one?
Yeah, it was a really interesting game, that last Huddersfield game. We were 5 games unbeaten going into that and had started the season pretty well and in the top 6. But I think you caught us at a good point because as much as I've just mentioned that in recent weeks we've had the defensive solidity and the consistency and selection back there, actually the Huddersfield game and then the one that followed, Blackpool, they were games where we weren't able to pick a settled defensive unit. So going into the Huddersfield game, we had only four available first choice defenders that we had going into that game, and then Ryan Nyambi picked up an injury in the first half, and it really just shook us up a little bit, and we looked quite loose and quite nervy at the back, and I think Huddersfield were able to exploit it. Certainly from a Rovers perspective, the goals we conceded to you were quite disappointing, particularly the winner from Danny Ward. It was just really poor defending on our part, and we seem to have stamped all of that out now, and we seem to be a bit more solid. So that was a disappointing result. We absolutely respected Huddersfield going into that game. You were up there on merit as well, and still are going into that game. So it was a game that personally I thought we were going to do well to win. And, it was one of 2 tough away games with the Lancashire derby following it. But yeah, it's kind of, I've got similar feelings going into the home game now where, Huddersfield are rocking up at Ewood Park. But yeah, it was a tricky result, that one. And as I say, you caught us at a good time, I think.
Are there any players we need to keep an eye out for in the game today?
The obvious one to keep an eye out is obviously Brereton Diaz. He got his 20th goal of the season against Barnsley the other night, and I think the thing I'm looking forward to now, I don't know if you saw the Sky Bet 20 league goals bet that a lot of Rovers fans have had. I think that's a real monkey off his back now that he's done it and won that bet for a lot of Rovers fans. So I'm really looking forward to just seeing, an even more confident Brereton Diaz where he's got no pressure. No one expected this from him. He's won people that bet now before New Year's Day. So I'm looking forward to seeing a kind of newly unleashed Brereton Diaz, if that makes sense. Another one to look out for is John Buckley. As I say, he has just really emerged into a really important midfielder for Rovers this season. He's a real glue that holds everything together. The ball just sticks to him, a really technically gifted footballer, real eye for a pass, good assist maker, will get stuck in and press if he needs to, and really complements Rothwell and Travis well in that midfield area. So look out for John Buckley. And then just look out, I can't single out any of the centre-backs, so just look out for the back three. Darragh Lenihan in a kind of right centre-back position. He will edge forward a little bit and try and find passes and crossfield balls and things like that. Scott Wharton on the other side as a left-sided centre-back. He's really come in and solidified that defence. And then Jan-Paul van Hecker, who we've got on loan from Brighton, has just been absolutely immense. Just an old-school defender who's keeping Daniel Ayala out of the side at the moment. So that shows you, how well he's doing. And, he can be a threat from set pieces as well. So they're the ones to watch out for.
And what are you expecting from the game against Huddersfield?
I'm expecting a really tough game. Huddersfield invariably do give us a tough game, particularly at the John Smith Stadium. Obviously, this one at Ewood Park, you've had some draws in previous years. And I think it'll be a tough game because I think the last two that we've had at Ewood, Barnsley and Birmingham, we've been expected to win those games with the position that we now find ourselves in. And we've dealt with that expectation really well. We've managed to blitz Birmingham and win 4-0. And Barnsley, albeit a more nervy performance, we got the job done. But, Huddersfield, I think, are going to be a completely different kettle of fish to those two sides with the greatest respect. Huddersfield are up in the top 6 on merit, playing some really good stuff this season. You'll come to Ewood Park, no doubt, and try to impose yourself. You like to score goals like Rovers as well. So we're going to have to be really wary with that attacking threat that you've got from the likes of Sorba Thomas, who I've been really impressed with this season. So I think most Rovers fans are expecting a tough game. It's one that I would have personally been happy with a draw with if our Hull game hadn't been postponed. I wanted a win at Hull, a win at home to Barnsley, and then I would have taken a draw at home to Huddersfield to get the 7 points from the week. I think with that Hull suspension, we've just got to keep the pressure on the sides around us to stay, well within that top 6. So it's one that Rovers obviously are going to have to try and win as well. But it's a game, it's probably going to be our toughest game for a few weeks, actually. So it's one that absolutely, we're going to have to do well to win.
And finally, how do you see the game going and what's your score prediction?
I think it's going to be a really good game, actually, because I think Rovers have been expected to be on the front foot and impose ourselves in the last two at home, as I say, against Barnsley and Birmingham. But I think Huddersfield, I think you will come and, yes, you'll respect Rovers, but I think absolutely you're going to try and impose yourself. And from a Huddersfield perspective, Rovers are getting all the plaudits at the moment and riding high. But actually, if Huddersfield were to get the win, I believe you go 3 points behind us. So real incentive for Huddersfield to come to Ewood Park and be positive. Obviously, it'd be tough for Huddersfield to do that. Ewood Park has been a really good place for us this season. We've scored 2 at home in every game but 3. Only lost 3 at home as well. So it's going to be a tough ask for Huddersfield, but I think it's going to be a real good game. I think it's going to be a good attacking affair. Whether there'll be any changes in the two sides because of, the recent games, we'll see. Whether that'll affect the contest, I don't know. But how do I see the game going in terms of the score? I'm going to go for a 2-1 Rovers win. I think it's going to be tight at times, but I think it will be an entertaining affair because of the fact that Huddersfield are just going to come and try and make a game of it, and that could suit Rovers a little bit. On that overturn of possession, on that counter attack, getting the likes of Rothwell, Brereton, Diaz, Dolan or Gallagher if they're on forward, that could just play into Rovers' hands a little bit. I don't see Huddersfield coming to Ewood Park and sitting back. So for that reason, I think a 2-1 Rovers win.